Happy Wednesday out there, folks. Super pleased to be here this beautiful, sunny Wednesday morning. My guest today is going to talk about something that I think is particularly interesting to a lot of folks. So, she and I just finished having a conversation, and we're talking about everything from small town drama, small p politics, but small circles of influence and how that really impacts all of us and how we choose to live our lives. And, just to get on my soapbox for a minute, I have to say that I feel like I live in a small town today. The Regina City School Board or the Regina Public School Board made a decision yesterday that impacts hundreds of students across Regina. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe that they made a decision based on leadership. It is my opinion, but I don't believe that they took a leadership position here. So that's the small town that I feel like we live in today. But let's get back to the show. So before I introduce our guest, I just want to make sure that everyone stays tuned in right until the very end of our show. She's got a super special gift for everyone out there who's listening. So tune in, learn all about our guest today, and you will get a free something. So stay tuned. All right, without further ado, I would like to welcome our guest today. Our guest is Denise Anderson. She's an author, a coach, a leader in the business community, and a supporter, like a supreme supporter. She believes anyone who sets their mind out to do something can accomplish it. She's such a cheerleader. And she's here to talk about her new book today. So I'm not going to spoil anything else. Welcome, Denise. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your new book.
Hi, Barb. Thank you so much for that great introduction. Happy to tell you about my new book. So the book that I wrote is called Small Town Divorce, a roadmap through devastation, despair, and trauma. So as you can imagine, going through, well, really anything in a small town dynamic can add a lot of resistance. And so you're not just going through the actual event, you've got a lot of stuff coming at you from other people, right? Judgments, opinions, criticism.
Of course.
Their own thoughts, their own beliefs about it. So I just felt it was really important, not like just to tell my own story about what I went through, knowing that a lot of people would be able to relate to that same dynamic.
Absolutely. I bet. So the book, where's it at right now? Can I walk into Chapters and buy it?
Not today.
Not today. When can I?
That's coming out about the summer, July 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Okay. So not quite a year away.
Not quite a year away. It's actually been a really quick process.
That's what I was just going to ask. So was it a quick process to write a book?
Like it was. What happened was, so my father was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And as his disease was progressing and he was deteriorating, I actually made a decision to move in with my parents to help take care of my dad. So it was such a blessing because I had so many opportunities to have conversations with him about his life, what he learned, what he regrets, And one of the questions I asked him was, is there something in life you wish you had done that you didn't?
Okay.
And his answer was, I've always wanted to write a book. And as soon as he said that, it started something inside of me because I too have always wanted to write a book. I never knew exactly what it was going to be. But I knew so I made a promise to my dad that I would write a book.
That's where this all started.
That's where this all started. But literally from that moment of saying that, there was a sequence of events that happened that led me to the company that I ended up writing the book with. And within a matter of weeks, I started writing the book.
Wow, a matter of weeks.
A matter of weeks. I actually stopped doing what I used to be a financial advisor. I actually stopped doing that, started writing the book, and went full on into my coaching business within 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So how did the story come? Like, did it just pour out of you? You hear often from writers and authors that the story just pours out of you.
So to be completely honest, both yes and no. There were times where it did, right? And you're kind of like, where did that come from? And I never thought I was going to be saying that. And there was an absolute flow to it. But then to be honest, there were times where it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to share that. it felt very, very vulnerable.
Very personal.
It's personal stuff, right? And you're just sharing what you went through, what you were feeling, how you were responding to the whole thing. And so those were times where I felt a little bit stuck. There wasn't a flow there, but I felt the stuckness was just that unwillingness to be that vulnerable.
I was going to say, it's fear.
It's absolute fear.
Right.
And if I look back on it and I still probably could have been even more honest. So the book really is as honest as I could be in that moment. And there'll be another book, I'm imagining.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I think vulnerability is an interesting thing because I certainly didn't grow up hearing about the importance of vulnerability. In fact, probably the opposite. You stuffed it down, you hid it, you didn't talk about it, you swept it under the carpet. Where now, you know, be vulnerable, put yourself out there. And when I first started hearing that, I was working with an executive coach, and I remember kind of looking at her and thinking, what are you talking about? How do you do that? What do you mean be vulnerable? Right? And another gentleman said to me, do you have a dog? And I was like, yeah, I have a dog. He said, when you come home from work at the end of the day and you walk over to your dog, what does a dog do? I said, we'll roll over for a belly rub. He's like, vulnerable. The dog has made himself completely vulnerable to you. He trusts you, right? He's saying, yay, mom's home, come rub my belly. Right? I'm like, yeah, okay. But no, I don't want to ask strangers to rub my belly. So,
well, and you know, what's coming to me as you're saying this, Barb, is living in a small town is vulnerable in and of itself.
Absolutely.
In every single moment, right? Because everybody knows you. All your business gets out there, right, wrong, good or bad, whatever, it's out there. You know, I start my first chapter off, I believe the very first quote that I put in my book is, living in a small town is like living in a glass house.
Yes.
So if that doesn't speak to vulnerability, I don't know what does.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a funny thing. You referenced when you and I were talking earlier. So a small town isn't just a small community. It's a group of coworkers. It's a social group. Anytime you have that same group of people that you're spending a quantity of time with, it becomes like a small town, especially when there's something you don't want others to know. Why is that? So if I have that secret and I don't want anybody to know, how is it that everybody ends up knowing anyway?
Yeah, well, great question. Great question.
Do you have a great answer for me?
Well, I don't know if it's a great answer, but here's my thoughts on it. Is part of it is we're conditioned. It's habitual conversation.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
become
we're
absolutely acceptable. We're programmed, we're conditioned to just talk about others' lives and what they're doing. And it is also, in my opinion, when I'm focused on your life,
I don't have to focus on my own.
Doing, guess what? I don't have to look over here at my life, what I'm doing and what's going on for me. So it's almost like it's like a medicine. It's like a pill that people take. It's a sedation out of their own reality and their own life.
Yes. And I think when you talk about someone else's problems, it makes your own not quite seem so bad.
Exactly.
Right? And so, oh, did you see or did you hear what's happening? Like, it's way more exciting than our own life.
Exactly. And that's why I want to use the word, it's a sedative. It allows you to go to sleep in your own life with the stuff that you've got going on that you don't want to take a look at or that you don't want to have to feel or face.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Really, my book is about my journey and what I was, you know, again, it's kind of like a curse and a blessing at the same time, because in a small town, you can't afford to not do that self-reflection. I mean, then you do get lost in all of the chatter and all of the judgments, right? And for a period of time, I certainly did.
Yes.
And it literally knocked me down to the floor.
Did it?
Absolutely. Couldn't even function. I didn't want to go down to the grocery store. Didn't want to go down to the coffee shop.
Because people were talking. And you knew they were
talking, right?
Okay.
People are talking. And again, whether they have that information correct or not, that part doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
That part doesn't matter. It's that they're talking. And it's not like the conversation is about trying to help the other person, lift them up or get them through it. I use this as an example. It's like, so when my father passed away, and then I also experienced a divorce. So two very dramatic, life-changing events. Like it's just not going to be the same after this, right? The the love, the support, the outpour of care that I got when my father passed away was amazing, but also completely opposite of what I received when when I was going through a divorce. There wasn't that curiosity of understanding, or it's like, you know what? I don't need to know. It's like, I don't even need to know how your dad how he passed away or why he passed away. It's just, I just feel for you that you're going through this.
Exactly.
But with divorce and other things like loss of a job, or maybe there's been a crime or something happened, people want the nitty gritty. They want the detail, and they lose focus of what must your experience be like? What must you be going through? You know, I really feel for your experience.
Right.
So again, I believe it's that conditioning of, we just want the nitty gritty to take us away from our own.
You know, that's a really good point, because you're right. If somebody passes away and they're 92 years old, there's not a lot of question about what happened. But when someone passes away when they're 23, oh, what happened? And, you know, we're looking to make sense of it in our own mind. And with something like divorce, often what people are seeing is I'll say typical marriage. It might seem happy, but a normal marriage. And then, oh, well, if that can happen to you, well, maybe it can happen to me. And oh, wait a second.
Absolutely. So then, it makes you wonder, the people that are talking, is there also a fear inside of them that this could happen? So if they can make one or the other out to be the bad person, the cheater, the liar, the disconnected one, the one that's afraid of living, and they want to see it in black and white.
Right.
So that's going to make my life safe. That'll make my relationship okay. See, it happened for them because of this, this, and this.
Yes.
So now it makes me okay over here. And I'm like, that's an illusion. Like, you're living in an illusion.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're falling asleep in your own relationship.
In your own life.
And in your own life.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about this transition. It happened quickly. It was 3 weeks. You woke up, quit one job, started a new one. So tell me about the business, and, besides writing a book, how are you making all these pieces come together?
So I've actually been a life coach for 12 years. I've been a certified life coach. So I've always done my coaching, but I've had something on the side. Right. So I've done it. I've always wanted this to just be my primary business. Okay. But again, there was some fear. Can I really make a go of it? Can I be successful just as a coach? So as a financial advisor, it was a conflict of interest. So I wasn't legally able to do both. So that is why I had to like sever this part.
You had to make a choice.
I had to make a choice, right? And I have had to make this choice many, many times in my life. Okay. And watching that process of my dad passing away, him reminded me of how fast time goes and how fast your life goes. I didn't want to wait any longer. Yeah. So it was actually a really easy decision for me to make. And what I've incorporated with my coaching, so I do personal coaching, business coaching, and I also incorporate public speaking as well, and other programs that I've added to my business as well. So it's almost like it's its own entity. What I love about being an entrepreneur is that I get to feel into the moment of what's true and what are people needing. Where is society at in this moment? It's not like this, I've made a mark and this is what I do and this is how it's going to be.
Right. So you're not just Denise, the author. You're Denise, again, the cheerleader, the supporter, right? Well, I've never seen you in the year or so, I think, that we've known each other. I've never seen a moment where you're not like, yes, go for it. You can do it. So-and-so is going to do awesome, right? Like, you're just always go, 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 rah, rah, rah. Not go, go, go in a bad way.
No, I do know what you're saying. And yes, that's definitely my mindset, is that anything is absolutely possible. And that's, for me to get there, it was a series of a lot of different things that I've done in my own life, working with a spiritual guru, my own coaches, my own business coaches, that sort of thing, right? And it's really all about that mindset.
Right.
I was going to say something about.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question while you think on that one. Okay. So, speaker, what do you talk about?
You know what? It depends on where I'm speaking. Okay. Right? Because I can basically kind of tailor my talks to whatever is going on for the group of people that I'm addressing. It all, it stems from the book. But again, in the book, I cover a lot of different things. I cover vulnerability. I cover judgments and criticisms of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I cover changes, going through changes in life, whether that's death, divorce, a change of a job, that
Mhm.
sort of thing. So it really does depend on the group and what they're needing. So I want to serve them as well. So it's not just I want to show up and just serve my interest.
Mhm.
It's how can we work together
Right.
so that I can get my message out there, but it be
Mhm.
formatted for the people that your company or your business or event is serving.
Awesome. So, any speaking engagements coming here in Regina that any of our listeners could attend?
Yes. So far, right now, what I've got on the calendar are some speaking events in libraries. So I know next Wednesday, which I believe is the 23rd.
23rd. Yes,
23rd,
you're correct.
I will be in Lumsden at the
Mhm.
library in Lumsden. And then I believe my other speaking gigs are going to be after that in January. So I've got White
Okay.
City booked, Grenfell, Indian Head, contacted Moose Jaw. So I'm kind of making my rounds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when you're starting a business, that's what you need to do. You need to knock on as many doors as possible, talk to as many people, share your message. And that's how you start to grow a business.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And you know what? Going through that experience in a small town
Mhm.
has actually helped me to build the muscle of vulnerability
Oh,
as well,
absolutely.
right? Anything that we go through in life, like I always look for the lesson, like what did I learn? And
Mhm.
I always ask two questions. What did I learn? And who did I become? What did this allow me
Ah.
to become?
Okay.
So, stronger, more independent,
Yes.
able to handle criticism,
Mhm.
be able to handle drama that I need, not just for my personal life, but also
Right.
in my business.
But in your business life
in
as
my
well.
business, right? Because the more you're putting yourself out there, the more
Mhm.
you're talking or exposing yourself in the public, you do open yourself up to that
Absolutely.
criticism.
Yes.
Not everybody's gonna like your message.
Yes.
Or your thought process or your own opinion or
Mhm.
what you're sharing or how you're sharing it.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So you've got to learn to manage that. It's crucial as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And in your personal life, you've got to be able to manage that. And some of the one thing that I came up with is how to manage that, because people are always, well, how do you manage it then?
Mhm.
Right? So what's a tip? And I would say this: be honest, brutally honest with yourself,
Okay.
whether what that person has shared actually bothers you or not. Because what I'm finding is it's the new agey thing to say, you know what, I don't care what people think. That the subtle art of not giving an F.
Yes.
Very popular book. So people walk around. I'm pretty sure I can't swear on this.
Exactly.
I'm trying really hard. Anybody that knows me,
I've got duct tape here, folks.
She's gonna let it slip. I know she's gonna swear. I'm trying really hard not to. But it's a new agey thing to say. Like, oh, I don't give an F what they think.
Yeah.
But you actually do.
You absolutely
So
do.
you're running away from it and you're not actually facing that. So you're not actually dealing with it. You're not
Yes.
learning how to deal with criticism. You're covering it up. You're lifting up the rug, putting it under the rug and covering it up.
But don't we all have these like hugely lumpy rugs at this point where you try and even walk across the rug and you're tripping on something?
So funny. It's so funny that you say that, because somebody asked me one time, what do you do? And I described it like this. I said, I'm the carpet ripper-upper. I rip up people's carpets. I'm like, hey,
I saw that one
let's
coming.
see what's under the carpet. Another way I like to describe it is like, let's just talk about the white elephant in the room.
In the room.
Because it is that lump in the carpet and it is the elephant in the room that is going to disconnect us.
Yes.
How can we connect, or how can you connect with anybody if you're not addressing the things that are actually coming in between us?
Exactly.
Right? And vulnerability is that big thing. It's like, let's be vulnerable. Let's just speak the truth. Let's just be open. Let's be honest. And it's the thing that sets us free, and it's the thing that scares us the most.
Absolutely. The thing that scares you the most is usually the thing that you need to most deal with.
Exactly.
Right? The conversations you don't want to have with a friend, with a spouse, with your kids, those are the conversations that probably most need to be had,
100%.
but they're uncomfortable and they're hard.
Yep.
And no one wants to.
It's 100%. And so that is what I do in my practice. That is what I help people work through. Right? You come up against this block and it's like, what's going on? How do we get you on the other side of that wall? Right. How do we get rid of those lumps? Because just covering them over, just putting your head in the sand or shoving something under the carpet is not dealing with it. And I can promise you,
I don't know, my carpet Still got shoving room
People
there.
hope if they just vacuum, it's all going to go away, but that doesn't work either.
No,
right?
it doesn't. Especially the bodies under the carpet.
And here's the thing: I can promise you, either you deal with it today,
Or
either you
will
start
pay
dealing
for
with it now, or it'll just come up next week, next month, next year, or even 10 years from now. And it's like Oprah always said this, it's like we get that little hint from the universe. It's like first you just get a little pebble, then it's a brick, then it's the whole brick wall, then it's a house. Like things just keep crumbling down. And that to me is the universe saying, hey, have I got your attention enough? Are you feeling this enough to finally say, might be time to take a look at that and deal with it? And that's honestly the people that come to me, that's the place that they're at. It's like you have to be at a place where it's like, you know what? Because and some people aren't, and I totally respect that. If right, they're okay to take a few more steps over that bumpy rug, and they're managing. They're managing to the degree that they feel like they're managing it, right? Because we have a lot of interesting coping skills.
Oh, don't we?
That are not always conducive to living your greatest life.
Yes, absolutely. We can stuff things down and hide them and bury them and find hiding spots and
exactly
avoid them. And absolutely.
So I have a process, and it's a gentle process, right? Because we are dealing with some really tender issues.
Oh, exactly.
Some really vulnerable spots. So it's like I say it's a gentle process, but that doesn't mean you're not going to feel stuff. Right. It doesn't mean that like this is just a breeze and it's no big deal. It is a big deal, but you're getting your life back. You're getting you back.
Yes. Well, in some cases, you're finding yourself, because we've had stuff buried in there since we were little kids. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, when we were kids, we were told, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, it's not a big deal. Right. If it's a big deal to you, it's a big deal.
Right. So if you've stuffed it down there, here's the thing. It's got to come back up.
Yes.
Right. And it's just, let's just meet it, greet it, say hello to it.
Name it.
Not go to war with it.
Exactly.
That's the other thing that people do, right? They want to go to war with it. They're defending themselves, or they're protecting themselves. So they're attacking. So you're either on the defense or you're attacking. Either way, no matter if you hold up that shield or point out your weapon, you're creating war.
Right. So, I find that the life coaching industry an interesting industry because it's something that has sprung up just in the last number of years. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we had leadership coaches, we maybe had some executive coaches, but the concept of a life coach wasn't something that I don't think anyone had really heard of. And now there seems to be a significant number of life coaches. So what do you think has happened so that we have more life coaches now? But why and where is this going? What do you see from an industry standpoint?
That's awesome. So I've had this question asked in a number of ways. And one thing that I like to share is first and foremost, in any industry, in any line of business, any line of work, you've got your great dentists and ones that they're not so great.
Okay.
You've got doctors that are really great. They've got great bedside manners, and then others, not so great.
Yes.
It's the same in the coaching business.
Right.
You've got some coaches that are really great. They're really making an impact, and others that aren't. So it's like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because you've maybe had a bad experience.
Right.
The other thing is, I've had people ask me, so as a life coach, does that mean like you tell me how to live my life? Like you have some sort of secret formula how to live my life? And it's like, no, don't let the title like life coach fool you.
Got it.
It's not about, I actually don't give advice.
Shared experience. It's not about advice. It's about shared experience. Right?
Exactly. And it's more like an excavation process where I help you find your own truth within yourself.
Right.
Which again, then building up the vulnerability to be able to share who you really are. Because right now, we're mostly conditioned, living from that, what we've been told is right and wrong, good and bad, and how we should or shouldn't be.
Absolutely.
Right. So what's happening and why I feel the industry is growing is because there is a greater need out there. There is a greater need for people to talk and work through that stuff.
Okay.
Because now it's things are opening up more. So it's like, oh, so I don't have to, like, maybe I'm not heterosexual. Maybe I'm not happy in this marriage. Maybe this line of work doesn't work for me. Whereas before it was like, you just stick through it. I don't care if you like it. I don't
absolutely.
care if you're happy. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
And if you don't, it means this. So people are breaking out of that paradigm.
Absolutely.
So I believe why the industry is growing is we're going through a huge paradigm shift.
Okay.
And so coaches are helping to lead that wave of a shift.
You know,
and transition.
That makes a lot of sense to me, because if you think about even something like employment, people used to stay in the same job or the same employer for 30 and 35 years and not think twice about it. Now, if you can get somebody to stay for 5 or 7 years, you're doing awesome. Most people are changing jobs 2, 3, 5 years down the road. There's another opportunity. There's a little bit more money. And from an employer standpoint, it's difficult because the hiring process is expensive. But as humans, like, we're meant to evolve and change. And so I can't imagine, having been with the same employer for 35 years, I can't imagine it. Never mind folks like you and I who have what I might call a micro business. Like, we would have been, non-existent 30 and 35 years ago.
Exactly.
So,
and that is what I love about the change in the industry, is because it is allowing more people to do what they absolutely love to do.
Absolutely.
Like, just before this interview, I was working with a client and she's like, oh, I don't want to ruin your energy or whatever. I said, no, what I do enlivens me. So when you're doing what you love to do, it just makes you feel great.
That is fantastic. Well, Denise, if you can believe it, we are out of time.
Oh gosh, I was just getting going.
I promised her it was going to be the fastest half hour of her life. So at the beginning of the show today, I promised that for everyone tuned in, that Denise had a very special offer. And so, Denise, do you want to quickly explain it to everyone?
Yes, I want to be able to give all of your listeners today a free copy of my book, Small Town Divorce.
Wow.
Yes.
A free copy.
A free copy.
How do I get it?
Yeah, all they need to do is go to my website, www.deniseanderson.net.
Okay, do you want to spell that out?
Yes. DENISE Anderson, ANDERSON.net.
Yes. And what do I do when I get to your site?
There's just going to be a pop-up. Just drop me your email address.
Okay.
And your name, and I'll send you a book.
An electronic copy.
Yes.
Very cool. Now, for anyone who is interested and still loves that touch and feel of a hard copy book, you said July of 2020?
In bookstores, yes,
Okay.
but I will actually have a hard copy of my book in hand in about 4 weeks.
Oh, are you super excited about
I really am. I am.
I can just imagine, it's like Christmas comes early.
It is. And you know what I love about it? It's like, it started off as an idea in my head. And then when you see the physical manifestation of a dream,
yes.
Yeah, there's no better feeling. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what I love to do with people as well, is to take their dreams from their head into reality.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Denise. Wow, what a story. I cannot believe how quickly this half hour went. Literally, I'm counting the seconds here. So I'm going to be back on October 30th with Jancy Templeton from Walker Wakefield. And she's going to talk about some really exciting projects happening here in Regina, helping families find new life in new homes. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email me at barb@googlegirl.ca or reach out on Facebook and Instagram at Above the Fold Canada. Just a reminder, you can always ask questions in advance of the live show. I'm your host, Barb McGrath, local business owner and Google Girl. Remember, you worked hard for your success. Don't keep it a secret. Bye for now.